Nancy, the new employee, is going to move from the head office. She was quite an eccentric person, and it troubled me every day. Then, one day, I received a call from Nancy. My car had an accident and is now completely wrecked, she said with a laugh. I had no idea what she was talking about. But it can't be helped, right? Because of my bad deeds, this happened. For some reason, Nancy seemed happy as she said this. I couldn't help but say a word to her. Huh? My car is being repaired, though. Huh? When I told her the truth, her face turned pale. My name is Karen. I'm 28 years old and work at an accessory shop. We primarily deal with necklaces, rings, earrings, and the like. Among them, the store I'm assigned to exclusively handles high-end products. The store is filled with items that you won't easily come across in your daily life. Despite that, perhaps due to its urban location, we still had a fair number of customers coming in. Whenever I had some free time, I would perform maintenance on the products. Life was busy with such tasks. To work at a high-end accessory shop, you need a certain level of experience. We have multiple items that require careful handling, so it's only natural. That's why we didn't have new employees joining us often. However, there was a rare report of one person transferring. Nice to meet you, I'm Nancy. Nancy spoke without making eye contact with me. She had bright blonde hair and striking makeup, which were quite distinctive. Everyone has their own personality, and I don't intend to criticize. However, her style seemed slightly out of place in the store's atmosphere. I conveyed my greetings to her to avoid upsetting her mood. I'm Karen, nice to meet you. I'm sorry to ask right away, but Nancy, do you always wear makeup like that? Have you been coming to work like this in your previous assignments? Nice to meet you too, Karen. I dyed my hair to change my image. Don't you think it looks pretty good? I also did my nails to make them look great. I really love them, she said, showing me her fingers. Her nails were either artificial or grown quite long. Handling accessories with nails like these could potentially cause damage. Yeah, it looks really cute, but it would be great if you could remove them by your next shift and change your hair to a more subdued color. We'd prefer a more natural look. Can you do that? Nancy looked puzzled. Huh? Why? Isn't it a bit much to ask me to change back after I've made an effort to look fashionable? This is a high-end accessory shop, right? In that case, it should be fine to dress up a bit. I actually think you look too plain for this place. While she made fun of my appearance, I knew I shouldn't get angry here. It wouldn't make sense to undermine her motivation for work at this point. Indeed, some companies have a glamorous atmosphere, but in our case, we tend to value a refined and elegant image. So what's the matter? Nancy glared at me. I spoke carefully, choosing my words. Nancy, you've only recently joined, right? In that case, you might not be familiar with the company's atmosphere yet. I'm not trying to blame you. It's a unique industry, and it can be nerve-wracking. Should I change my hair color and nails? Yes, it would be helpful if you could go for more subtle colors. I understand. I'll go change them then. She agreed more quickly than I had expected, which surprised me a bit. It seems she's someone who can understand things when explained properly. There's still so much potential for growth ahead. I must be diligent in providing proper education. That thought struck me anew. Thank you, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Understood. Well then. Nancy extended her hand towards me. I didn't understand her intention and had a puzzled look on my face. Huh? What do you mean? So can you give me the money quickly? Changing hair color and nails is quite expensive, you know. You don't seem to wear much makeup, so you might not understand. But I bought new cosmetics for this occasion. Since you told me to change them, you should reimburse me accordingly. Natural makeup? It's been a while. I wonder what I should buy. I was left speechless by Nancy's outrageous request. Why did I have to go to such lengths to take care of her? I calmly and persuasively told her, "There won't be any reimbursement for that. I'm sorry. I think it will take time for you to get used to things, but let's work together." What? That's unfair. I'm the one at a loss here. This is unacceptable. It's just too much. Nancy shouted like that and forcefully slammed a brochure that was nearby onto the floor. Then she just left the store. Today, there was no work after the greetings, so there was no problem with her leaving. However, her attitude was just too bad. I was extremely worried about whether I could work with her in the future. The next day, I received a call from the CEO. It was about Nancy. It seems she actually reported the makeup incident to the president. "I heard that she received a harassment from you." "It's a misunderstanding." I explained to the CEO exactly what had happened between me and Nancy. "So, that's what happened." The CEO sighed. "Actually, we didn't intend to send Nancy to the high-end accessory shop. She just insisted on working here, no matter what. I think I've realized that she's a bit unusual after meeting her yesterday." The CEO said with a troubled expression, "It seems there were various issues even before she came here. We transferred her to your store in the hope that a change in environment might reform her, and also because you have a solid team, including Karen. So I wanted you to be responsible for Nancy's education. I apologize for not being able to communicate this beforehand." According to the CEO, at the time of the selection process, she was just an ordinary person. It's only after joining the company that her behavior started to stand out. She must be going through various difficulties. So there were such circumstances. I understand. I may have limited abilities, but I'll make an effort to have a good conversation with Nancy. Thank you for sharing this with me. I apologize for burdening you. I'll also try to give her feedback as much as possible. However, I think Karen might be more approachable due to her position. I know she's busy with work, but I've asked her as well. If it's a request from the CEO, there's no way around it. Besides, I was genuinely happy to be entrusted with Nancy, since I'm responsible and capable. I don't think she's doing it on purpose. She's probably just clumsy. She doesn't know the world yet, so these things are bound to happen. I'm the only one who can support her. I have to work hard to meet the CEO's expectations. If I point out the right things, she'll do what needs to be done. But my assessment was wrong. Nancy is causing more problems than I imagined. No matter how many times I warn her, she doesn't listen. She leaves things as they are and can't do the basics. Honestly, I'm on the verge of giving up. What we sell are high-end accessories. If they are handled even slightly carelessly, their value drops immediately. "Nancy, have you already done maintenance on this necklace?" "Yes, I did. It looks beautiful, doesn't it?" Nancy said with a smile. It seems she's quite confident, but when I double-checked, there were quite a few fingerprints on the necklace. She probably touched it with her bare hands after wiping it clean. "Thank you. Maybe you can use gloves next time." I conveyed it softly, without mentioning everything. However, it seemed Nancy was not satisfied. "Huh? I was using gloves, normally." Why are you assuming things like that? She said with a strong tone, and I replied, You do use them when you work, right? I know that too, but it's not about that. I'm suggesting you use gloves even when you put it back in the case. After you've cleaned it so nicely, if you touch it with your bare hands at the end, fingerprints can be left, right? Does it really decrease the value that much just because of fingerprints? It can vary depending on the time and situation. $10,000 worth of decrease? Nancy said it right away, and I was a bit taken aback by Nancy. It depends on the circumstances. Right. Well then, please don't complain about what I say. Karen, you've been quite annoying lately. You criticize everything I do, and I'm really starting to dislike it. It's lunchtime, so I'll go on my break first. She said only what she wanted to say and headed to the backyard. Did she really see me that way? Certainly, I felt more motivated after the CEO asked me to take care of her. Despite that, I've been speaking while respecting Nancy's opinions. But if this still isn't satisfactory, how should I guide her? Even if Nancy's attitude doesn't change, work must be assigned. She has gradually taken on more responsible tasks. Of course, I'm paying close attention to her actions. Otherwise, mistakes could happen somewhere. Perhaps it's because I've been vigilant and able to provide immediate guidance. There haven't been significant errors. For now, I felt at ease with my work. Our high-end accessory shop primarily involves in-store customer service. The unit price of each product is high, making it risky to take them outside. However, I heard from the CEO that they are considering future door-to-door sales. Indeed, this should increase the customer base and potentially boost sales. I received a message about wanting to hold a meeting regarding this at the headquarters. Naturally, I want to cooperate. It seems the meeting is scheduled to start after the store is closed. Time-wise, it should be fine. That's what I thought. But on that particular day, there were many customer visits, and it became quite late. Although I had finished customer service, the closing tasks remained untouched. If I start working on them now, I'll be late for the meeting. In my rush, Nancy said the following. Karen, we have a meeting today, right? I'll take care of the closing tasks. Her words caught me by surprise, and I was slightly amazed. But we also need to lock up. You haven't done that before, right? It's okay. I've watched you do it all the time, and I can handle locking up. Please, trust me. I'm sorry. Can I entrust you with it then? Inventory check is already done. Just make sure to lock both the upper and lower locks, okay? I understand. You don't have to tell me multiple times. I wondered if I had trained her well. I never expected Nancy to take the initiative, and it made me very happy. However, this would lead to a major incident. The next day, when I came to work, I sensed an unusual atmosphere. It felt like the layout of the store had changed. I hurriedly looked around and noticed that some of the showcases were broken. Several necklaces that had been inside were missing. I immediately contacted the police for questioning. There were no signs of the store's door being forcibly opened. So why had this happened? There can be dangerous situations, huh? Nancy said it casually. I couldn't believe it and asked, You did lock up properly yesterday, right? Are you suspecting me again? Please stop it already. I did it properly. Just turning the upper lock, right? Listening to her, I was stunned. The store's door has a double lock system, so both locks must be closed. One lock alone might be bypassed. In other words, it might be because of Nancy that a thief got in. While reporting the incident to the police, Nancy seemed indifferent, as if it had nothing to do with her. This definitely needed attention. Yesterday, you checked and locked both the upper and lower locks, right? Huh? I didn't say anything like that, did I? Why are you lying? Is it my fault again? Maybe your way of educating is wrong. If a subordinate fails, it's the boss's failure. So Karen is to blame. Certainly, it might have been my oversight. But to hear it from the person who made the mistake, we decided to move to the headquarters for situation assessment and investigation. Upon later review, the surveillance camera clearly captured the culprit's image. And as expected, only one side of the door was closed. The culprit probably acted impulsively because the door was open. After all, the thief entered the store without concealing their face or anything. I don't think it will take long to apprehend them. However, it wasn't just the jewelry that was damaged. This was also something that troubled me. Perhaps because I was busy, I didn't realize that it was already past 1 p.m. I still haven't had lunch. Maybe I should go buy something for now. With that thought in mind, as I was about to head outside, I received a call from Nancy. I'm sorry, but I had an accident and the car is now totaled. She said it with a smile. Totaled? What do you mean? So your precious car is now a total loss? But it can't be helped. It's because of my bad behavior. From now on, I'll do my best with walking to work. I couldn't understand the situation, and Nancy started talking. You see, you were busy with interviews and all, and I took my lunch break a bit early. There's a new delicious cafe nearby that I wanted to try, but it's a bit far from the headquarters, so I borrowed your car. Then I made a slight mistake while handling the steering and crashed into the guardrail. It wasn't intentional, so there's nothing to be done. There could be all sorts of possibilities with accidents, but I never expected to be driving such a nice car. It's totaled, so I can't use it anymore. Wait, my car is in the repair shop right now. Huh? Where are you now? I'll head over there immediately. After asking Nancy about her location, I rushed over. When I arrived at the scene, there was a severely damaged car. Police officers had gathered around. There seemed to be an unusual number of police-related incidents today. As I stood there in amazement, Nancy noticed me and ran over. Thank you for coming. I was so surprised. That car in such a terrible condition as your car? After such a major accident, there's no helping it. For some reason, Nancy seemed oddly cheerful. Like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't intentional, so please don't be mad. By the way, I'm not injured at all. Lexus is amazing, isn't it? The ride was really comfortable. Nancy, do you even realize what you've done? My car is in the repair shop. Even though I pleaded with urgency, Nancy didn't seem to hear me. She either thought it was a joke or was simply laughing it off. That's not true, right? I mean, yesterday you came to the store in your own car as usual. It's impossible for it to break down so quickly. Please stop making fun of us. By the way, I'm not very familiar with cars, but I was surprised that you were driving a Lexus. As Nancy spoke confidently, a certain individual appeared before us. It seems we need to have a detailed discussion. Yes, I think that would be best. I have a lot to say to her as well. Let's do that. CEO! Surprisingly, the CEO was there. He had his arms crossed and was giving Nancy a sharp look. It seems you have a misunderstanding. That Lexus is mine. It looks like it got quite badly damaged. How do you intend to take responsibility? It belongs to the CEO? But Karen was driving this car from the store to the headquarters. I lent it to Karen. Nancy was left speechless. As the CEO explained, I was only borrowing the Lexus. That's because my own car had been vandalized by the thief. During yesterday's meeting, a colleague had given me a ride to the headquarters. There were some items I needed to take from the store, but they couldn't all fit in my car, so I left my car at the store. That's why it became a target for the thief. If a luxury accessory shop had parked in front of it, there must have been something valuable inside. They probably thought about it that way and decided to break into the car. The windshield was shattered and it was in no condition to drive. Knowing this, the CEO kindly lent me his car. Why did you lend such a luxury car like a Lexus? Doesn't it make no sense for me to have an accident? I heard from Karen that we are considering door-to-door sales. We value the company's image. I had also informed Nancy about this. Karen mentioned that we are considering door-to-door sales, right? We value the company's image. We aim to have an elegant and refined atmosphere in our shop. So I intended to use a decent car for sales visits, like a luxury car. But it would be difficult to ask you to start driving a brand new car all of a sudden. Karen seemed troubled by it, so I lent her my car. I wanted her to get used to the feeling of driving an expensive car. Even if you say that now, what should I do from here? Nancy said with a troubled expression. Originally, it was the accident she caused. There's no need to worry. What should we do? I think we have to compensate for it. CEO, how much was this Lexus? I think I bought it for around $50,000. Upon hearing the amount from the CEO, Nancy let out a scream. $50,000? That's impossible! I can't afford that as a newcomer. She pointed at me as if to blame me. Karen should have told me from the beginning. If I had known it was the CEO's car, I wouldn't have done this. I'm the victim here. So you caused the accident because it was my car? Of course. It's the CEO's car. I couldn't even touch it, let alone drive it, because I was too scared. In other words, you intentionally caused the accident. But you said earlier that it wasn't intentional. Nancy hastily covered her mouth, but it was already too late. The CEO was also listening to her explanation. I said this to her as a final remark, as she no longer seemed to have the intention to argue. It turns out that Nancy was the one with bad behavior all along. Nancy had a very regretful expression as she crumbled on the spot. She disliked being bossed around by others in any case. That was the case even before she started working with me. However, if she couldn't listen to what her seniors had to say, she would never grow as a professional and would always have that attitude. I someday want to get back at her. That's what Nancy had in mind when she found my car. Moreover, it was a luxurious Lexus. She must have thought that damaging it would cause considerable emotional distress. Of course, Nancy received an immediate dismissal notice. Initially resistant and unwilling to accept it, she became obedient when the CEO warned her that further involvement would result in appropriate action. Since then, it seems Nancy has been actively searching for a new job. However, she hasn't received any job offers and reluctantly settled for part-time work. Even there, she displayed a similar attitude and was quickly let go, continuing her search for the next employment opportunity. Seeing this, her parents decided to kick her out of their house, and now she lives alone, feeling lonely. The thief who stole the accessories was apprehended, thanks to the police investigation, and the stolen items were returned safely, resolving the issue. From now on, It was widely known to be vigilant about locking doors. The door-to-door sales efforts were progressing quite smoothly. It was a significant advantage to be able to approach customers who wouldn't normally visit the store. Although the format was not yet finalized, efforts were being made to improve it further.